The greatest empires in the world were built by kings, dictators, generals, and billionaires. But over 2,000 years ago, a man with no army, no wealth, and no social media changed the course of human history forever. He didn't choose the influential, he didn't choose the perfect, he chose the forgotten. Ordinary men and with fears, weaknesses, traumas, and even dangerous flaws. But under his leadership, they turned the world upside down. His name is Jesus, and this is the true story of the greatest mentor the world has ever known. The world has always admired powerful leaders, men who demand respect through strength, intelligence, charisma, or fear. Governments are built on strategy. Billion-dollar companies follow the brilliance of cold, calculated executives. But Jesus led in a way the world could never understand. He didn't need castles, status, titles, or cheering crowds. He led with love, with truth, with presence. He saw greatness where the world saw flaws. He believed in people, even before they believed in themselves, and that changed everything. Jesus didn't choose kings, nor scholars, nor religious elites. He chose broken men, just like you and me. Peter, impulsive, he spoke without thinking, reacted before listening. He cut off a man's ear, and denied Jesus 3 times. A man full of good intentions, but often weak under pressure. John was, well, sensitive, but honestly, also explosive. People even called him a son of thunder. He once wanted to call fire from heaven. He was emotional, intense, and, yeah, a bit immature. But over time he became known as the Apostle of Love. James, the brother of John, was ambitious. He actually asked to sit at Jesus' right hand in heaven. He wanted position, before really understanding the purpose. Thomas was skeptical. He needed to see the scars to believe. Maybe he'd been betrayed too many times, or maybe he just didn't trust himself. Matthew, a tax collector, hated, seen as corrupt. No one wanted him, but Jesus called him. Simon the Zealot, political extremist, a revolutionary, hated men like Matthew. Jesus put them side by side. Judas Iscariot, a thief, manipulator, saw miracles, yet betrayed Jesus. Philip, quiet, logical, he said it was impossible to feed the crowd. He saw obstacles before possibilities. Bartholomew, also known as Nathaniel, prejudiced. Can anything good come from Nazareth, he once asked. James, the son of Alphaeus. Little is known about him, no spotlight, he possibly felt forgotten. Thaddeus, he barely speaks. Once he asked, why not reveal yourself to the world? Maybe he was a little insecure, quietly longing to matter. Andrew was quiet too. He brought people to Jesus, but didn't really seek fame, just, connection. These were the men Jesus chose, imperfect, unstable, flawed, but he called them anyway. Because he doesn't see who we are, he sees who we can become. Jesus never sat on a throne, but walked like a king. Never held a sword, but spoke with unmatched authority. Never wrote a book, but his words echo for centuries. While others shouted, he listened. While leaders judged, he touched the broken. While the world demanded perfection, he offered grace. Jesus didn't train leaders in classrooms, but on roads, in storms, in silence, in pain. When Peter sank, he reached. When Thomas doubted, he showed the scars. When they slept in the garden, he still called them friends. He saw the failures, but led with hope. He corrected without shaming. He challenged without crushing. He didn't lead by fear. He led by presence. With him they felt seen, valued, capable, not because of who they were, but because of who he was. Jesus was the greatest leader in history, because he gave his life, not just for those who followed him. but for all humanity, even those who still reject him. They weren't the best, or the smartest, or the strongest, but they were the chosen, flawed men who became pillars, cowards who stood before kings, doubters who died for what they once questioned. Peter became a shepherd. John the apostle of love, Matthew a gospel writer, Thomas a martyr, Simon a missionary, Andrew a soul winner, James a servant to death. They were beaten, chained, crucified, but they never turned back. Because something changed inside them. They had seen the light. They had walked with love. Ordinary men who became giants because they were transformed by the greatest leader of all time. The story didn't end with the 12. Jesus still calls, not the perfect, but the willing, the tired, the broken, the ashamed, the proud, the forgotten. He still says, "Follow me." And not all who followed saw him in the flesh. Some met him later and never turned back. Stephen, a man full of the Spirit, he preached boldly, faced death without fear, and while being stoned, he said, "Father, don't hold this sin against them." The same words of the same Jesus he followed, that kind of courage, only comes from Christ. Paul, religious, zealous, violent in his passion, thought he was right, thought he was defending God, until one encounter changed everything. He fell, his pride fell, his blindness fell, and Paul was born, from persecutor to preacher, from judge to servant. He wrote most of the New Testament and never looked back. It wasn't just the 12, it was tax collectors, rebels, religious extremists, skeptics, failures, men and women, touched by one name, Jesus. And if his impact still echoes today, it's because there has never been and will never be a greater leader than Christ. You can still rise, you can still be restored, you can still rise again. Hope you liked this video, share and subscribe for more. Whoever believes in me, as scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. John 7:38.